Sony's got a 60-minute state of play locked and loaded. And before they hit the button, we're putting our predictions on the record. No hedging, no walkbacks. Diablo turns 30, and we're asking if the franchise is about to evolve or double down. Dragon Quest VII shocked one of us with how bold and how dark it's willing to get. Fallout 76 refuses to die. And the season finale of the show is keeping one of us in Appalachia. I'm Chris, that's Nick and Dave, and let's start the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Grinding Game Episode 7. I'm Chris, that's Nick and Dave, and we're so glad to be back. We got a lot on the plate today, so without further ado, Nick, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. I'm excited to get into this episode. Like I said, start of the week. It's been busy. It's been good, though. Just had a nice big meal with the family, got the kids to bed, and now it's time to sit down here for a couple hours and talk some games, so I'm excited.
Did you fix your back brace before you started? You want to tell the viewers what happened?
Yeah, for the, and I'll see if I can put this in the video for all of you all to see at home, but I completely busted ass yesterday coming into the house. Started to get a little ahead of myself, started going, and I had a giant ball pit for the kids. So imagine this, and I'll probably show it, but I have a big holder or pit that the balls go into, and then a giant trash bag of balls that we just got from Facebook Marketplace. And I'm coming down the hill, and I just freaking eat it completely, both feet out from under me, and hit the ground. The balls go flying everywhere. I'm laid out on the ground. I mean, the ice is no joke. I could tell you this much. We're expecting 2 50-degree days, and this weather has not made me want to move further south than anything else in my life. It has just been, I'm over it. Completely over it.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you, man. I saw those 50-degree days coming up, and I'm beyond excited. Like today, I was actually out there with the dogs throwing the ball, standing out in the sun, and it was warmed up, and I was like, oh, please just keep going. Then they see in the snow. I think I'm the same boat. We kind of touched on it last time the snowstorm was happening. We're like, dude, I got to move south. I can't do this anymore. I'm getting old bones. But Dave, how you doing, my friend? How's the weather over there with you with the snow and everything? Has it kind of all gone away already, or are you kind of the same boat as us still?
Yeah, down here in South Carolina, it melted basically within 24 hours. It was just a short run here for us. And I think it's actually supposed to get up to like 70 tomorrow.
Oh,
so we've got some plans. We've been getting out there. We've been getting active, going to like some nature preserves and some hiking trails and things. We got this big heavy duty stroller with off-road tires on it, so we could throw the twins in there, grab the dogs, and we've been doing some hikes. It's where I'll throw a bunch of weight in my pack and try to build some character while I'm out there so that I don't feel so guilty putting all these hours into these games that are coming up. Got to make sure we're getting it in. And also spending time with the family is most important. We've been enjoying the warm weather and not as much gaming this past week. I know we're going to get into what we've been playing, but I think that's the whole theme of our show is sometimes that's a good thing. Like Requiem's coming up, and I'll probably stay up way too late playing that game. So right now, it's a great time to put as many coins in the bank of the family time as you can.
Yeah, you got to cash them in relatively soon. We're looking Requiem right in the eyes, and I'll get into what I've been playing, but I'm already knee deep in one of the first releases of the year as well. The same thing this weekend, not as much gaming. A lot of family time with the wife and the dogs. Did have to work a few days this weekend, had a few events in the facility, but other than that, man, it was a great weekend. We all kind of hopped on yesterday playing some Battlefield together, which was nice. Got close to winning, and we'll touch on that in a second. But before we really get into it, boys, and get into what we've been playing, I have a little warm-up question for you. I know Nick's Diablo history, Dave. Before I ask this question, have you dabbled before in Diablo?
No. Well, a very short run. There was a period of my life when I was locked away on a Navy ship, and I couldn't see land for many months. So all I had on me was a Nintendo Switch, like the classic Nintendo Switch, not even the OLED that came out, and then let alone the Switch 2 that they have now. But I tried playing a handful of games. I bought them before I knew I was going to be out there, and one of them was The Witcher 3, and I just had to. The Switch was not built for these games. Diablo was. Diablo was another one. I think it was either Diablo 3 or 4, and I tried playing it with some of the guys over like a Bluetooth connection, and I just gave up. Like, I want to jump into both of those titles I just mentioned. I need to jump in on my Series X and actually find out what they're all about. But for now, I'm gonna have to mostly listen for this part of the discussion because I do not have any of the playtime in these
Before we
Diablo
get
games.
into that question, never playing Witcher 3 is a wild take. That is one of the greatest games ever, dude. You got to play it.
I know, but like I told you, with the schedule of things, like there's only so many games you can get to within a year. We're seeing that is going to be really hard this year, and I've played, I know I've missed some of the greats over the year, so I'm gonna have to hit the backlog hard.
Yeah, you're gonna have to definitely toss a coin to your Witcher, Value Plenty. But I can't blame you too much for not playing it on the Switch. I feel like that thing would explode in your hands trying to run that. I had a friend of mine play Kingdom Come Deliverance, the first one on their Switch.
Oh,
and it was like, I'm not too much of a snob when it comes to that stuff, but that was just unbearable to look at.
There's some games that just aren't compatible with the Switch, I feel like.
No.
I'm a huge Skyrim fan, and even that on the Switch, like, just doesn't feel right. The Witcher, it would just do it a major disservice, I think, playing it on the Switch. Like, even if you 100%ed it, you'd be like, you probably would come away from it being like, that wasn't that great of a game. Because I just, like you said, it's one, its resolution is dulled down, and then two, it's just, it does not, I'm sure it doesn't run that smooth. It can't.
And that combat in itself isn't as fluid as it should be. So I can only imagine adding that the sneaky Switch powers to it would not help at all.
No.
But Dave, you played RPGs, so there's you can kind of guess what most of the classes are in Diablo. But Nick, I'll start with you then, and then you can kind of play off of me and Nick's state. And if you can only play one class across the entire Diablo franchise for the rest of your life, D1 through D4, which one and why? And I'll preface this by, it could be any class from any of the games. Doesn't mean that like the Paladin wasn't technically in 3, it was the Crusader, stuff like that. But any of the archetypes throughout all the games, and you had to play through 1 through 4. And then when 5 comes out, so on and so forth.
That's a good question, and I think I'll reference this list here for anybody too that has forgotten maybe the classes from all the Diablos. The only one missing here would be the Spirit Walker, I believe.
Spiritborn.
Yes. But you could tell that is not one that I would pick.
Don't sleep on the Spiritborn, dude. It's pretty sick.
I'm sleeping on it. I'm sorry, brother. No, I see the.
We're already going to get into a debate later, so let's save it for that.
Yeah, let's save it. Yeah, we're not gonna hash our funds on Spiritborn right now.
We got bigger fish to fry later.
Yeah, dude. I'll be honest with you. All right, Paladin Crusader, and the reason is, dude. I mean, look. Let's see if we can find it here. All right. Oh, okay. I saw that one. I was like, that's not it. So this is from Diablo 2, but here's the thing, dude, you are in a world of demons, right? You're fighting all demons. What cooler class than to play a Paladin or a Crusader? I mean, it just fits the profile so well. Also, which is actually pretty funny because you talked, Dave, about playing the Switch. I actually played through the entirety of Diablo 3 and the expansion solely on the Switch. Now, this was years after it had come out, a good bit of time, but I said, I didn't play through it. I was a huge Diablo 2 fan. I loved Diablo 2, played the hell out of it, and never got into 3, was behind the curve, and I said I'd download it. I played the Crusader the entire time and loved it. It just fits the profile, dude. Why would you not want to do like holy magic and destruction when you're fighting demons? It just, to me, it makes sense. I love it. And it's fun. It's easily to immerse in that role when you're playing Diablo, I'd say.
100%. For me, I'm right there with you, man. I hate to make this conversation one side. I think most Diablo fans or any fans, and like you said, an aesthetic of you're fighting the forces of hell. You want to be a holy warrior to do so. Now, granted, some people love the necro and stuff like that, and I can get that aspect of it. Well, kind of fighting darkness with darkness. But Yeah, just playing the paladin, the different builds you can do with it. Especially, I just played the last season as the paladin and absolutely loved it. If you pre-ordered the expansions, you got the paladin, and then now we'll talk more Diablo in a little bit in our news stories, but for sure, paladin all the way. One of the best classes I think in any game. I always play paladin if it's available to me. Baldur's Gate 3, um, actually Dragon Quest 7, you can unlock the paladin class and get those abilities there. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's always been one of my favorite archetypes in all the video games, and Diablo is no exception.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, you can do different builds throughout every game you play, and excuse me, the hammered in build is always my favorite. Throwing those magic holy hammers around you and just running through people, it's the best. It's so much fun. But, quick little warm-up question, because we'll have plenty of Diablo talk later, and then we'll make Dave a full fan of the series starting from there. But
I'm
we're gonna
jumping in.
roll. I think you would really like it, dude. Especially if we all got in there together and just slaying demons and stuff. Would be a ton of fun. Especially when we kind of hear what's kind of brewing over there in Blizzard. But before we get to our news stories, we're gonna go right into what we've been playing. And Dave, I'm gonna hand it over to you first. I know you're still jumping into Resident Evil 5, but kind of tell us about that and a little bit of the other things you've been playing.
Yeah, just trying to hit up a bunch of Resident Evil this month. Like we've talked about with starting this podcast, it's forcing us to jump into things that we had normally been fans of or had even played. And I don't know why I never jumped into the Resident Evil games over the years, but it's just seems like kind of one of those things when as you're growing up as a kid, it's like whatever games you kind of had or that people got for you, like that's what you really became fans of. Um, and so maybe it's just one of those things. Like I was never given a Resident Evil game as a kid or growing up, and so I just never flocked to it as an adult. But I've really been enjoying it. Resident Evil 5. The reason we chose it is just because it's a lot of the things we read online was the co-op features being the best, and my wife and I were just looking for a game to play together. Now, like I said, we haven't been playing that much lately. Been mostly focused on work or family things. But we do like it's been perfect for us. Like if we just want to hop on and play for a couple hours, we can get through a couple of the chapters and not get too burnt out on it, because it is, I talked to you guys about it before, like you feel the 360 era playing these older games, and we've had times where it disconnected, and yeah, it can be the most frustrating thing. Like you're 30-40 minutes into a mission and it disconnects you, um and you have
Does it
to go
reset
back.
all your progress or?
Well, it was being weird with having a guest join, and it might be something because we're on the both on the same internet. But basically, like she would keep all the progress, but mine would be wiped back to so I'd have to start at the beginning, to get credit for beating that mission. That's happened to us a couple times, and there's nothing that'll kill your night faster. We're just like, all right, let's just go watch something and go to bed. But
Yeah.
we're determined to still. I think we have like 2 missions left that we'll probably get to this week. And I've been having fun. I saw 2 on Game Pass. There's Resident Evil 2, the remastered or the remake version, whichever it is. And I was learning that that's Leon's first day as a cop, essentially, like where it all starts. So I thought that would be a great one to replay or just to play before Requiem comes out, since you'll be playing so much as Leon. And it's also on Game Pass, so I'm like, all right, I don't need to spend any more money. I could play that one. And then Village is also on Game Pass, so I might, if there's enough time, I might try to give that one a try too, just because that's the most recent, just to kind of get a comparison between 8 and 9. But
And
yeah,
that
that's
one
what I'm
has
working.
that first person perspective too, just like how Grace is. So kind of getting best of both worlds.
Yeah, it would be. I've definitely become a big fan of the series, though. I want to work my way through all the games. Yeah, there's gonna be too much to play this year, so I'll probably try to beat 1 or 2 this month, and then maybe if there's gaps in the year when we have a slow season or something, you guys just got me on board. I'm gonna get into Diablo, but then also try to work my way through these old Resident Evils over time, because it is a lot of fun.
Doing the whole Resident Evil pilgrimage. I like it. I like it.
Mhm.
What I heard, actually, a rumor is, I guess, that RE5 remake is coming pretty soon. So I thought it was pretty crazy that you guys are about to finish the original with that remake right around the corner, which will, I mean, probably just a remaster, a cleanup, kind of how they've been doing all the games. But I mean, if
Yeah.
that happens, Nick, it might be our turn to kind of hop in there and kind of give it a whirl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I get to be Chris Redfield. Sorry, we share a first name. Anything else, Dave? I know we kind of played some Battlefield last night. I don't know if you played any more High Guard since then or anything like that. I haven't really jumped in High Guard since last time we all played together.
Yeah, I think all of our consensus on High Guard is like it would only be fun if we had at least 4 people. Preferably 5 would be even better. But having a full team, same with Battlefield, it's just more fun with more people, and with our crazy schedules lately, it's looking like we get like maybe one night a week where all of us hosts of the podcast can hop in something together. So I did have fun on Battlefield, and I know we got season 2 right around the corner. So maybe grind away some more Resident Evil, and then try out some Battlefield season 2 with the boys, and was it next week? Yeah. So we'll
Yeah, I'm
see.
definitely down for that. I've kind of set side. I figured that was already the game plan that we were all going to hop into the new season together. So definitely set some time aside.
Mm-hmm.
But Nick, I know you have been somewhere different, not in the Resident Evil world. You've been playing in Appalachia still, and I kind of want to jump into not only that, but also the season finale of that show Fallout. Some people might have heard of it. Little kind of had a mixed reviews on it. We've kind of touched on this last episode. I'm adoring it, and I really like the finale. Yeah, I left a lot of questions, and we can touch on that. But before we even get into the show, let's jump back into 76. I know you have something else to say that we'll get into, and that'll kind of lead into me. But we'll start with 76.
Yeah. So look, dude, I've been playing 76 and I've been just loving it, man. I was kind of getting burnt out, and I texted you boys a little bit ago about that. But what really it was I had really focused on one build, which is kind of like a stealth archer build in the game. And it was just getting so dull. I was just, just tired of creeping around. There's like some timed missions. It was really tough when you're stealth mechanics because you're moving so much slower. I had great damage output, but it just is like it didn't feel. I like those types of playthroughs, and I've done them on all the Fallouts, the stealth types, and it's been fun. But I think for this MMO type, it doesn't fit too well. The good thing about 76 though is you could do multiple builds, and you can swap them instantaneously at your camp, which is like kind of the base you build. So I went and made myself a commando build. Basically, you just it's assault rifles, the armor, and then you could pop your power armor if you want. And something that I really like about 76 that makes it kind of user friendly is your power armor. No matter how much different pieces you put on it, no matter what, you can carry the frame, and the frame's only 10 pounds. So I'm a big like pack rat in any RPG, really. Like if I can grab anything, I'm gonna grab it, either to sell it, to scrap it for more materials, to whatever, you know what I mean? I like that type of stuff with games. I like collecting all the things that you're allowed to collect. So being able to like play my build without power armor 100% of the time, but then if it gets a little hairy, I could just drop it. I could drop it anywhere in the world and pop right into it, is fun. And another thing that's really cool about it is they make it so other players can't like take your power armor or mess with it. Like, let's say you drop it or you place it in the world and you leave or you get killed. Within 60 seconds, it's going to return to your inventory. So you can invest all you want into it and not worry about that aspect of it, which for me is a big worry because I don't have a lot of time to play. And if I get a 6 set of power armor and I only bust it out for certain scenarios, the last thing I want is to lose it.
Be like an Arc Raider situation. You build
yes,
this
I've had enough of that. I've had enough of the rats.
Or like GTA, when you put all the money into your car and somebody, if you don't get the insurance or whatever, however it works, they would
100%. So I just been slowly going through it, man, kind of testing out the new stuff. And they just dropped a new patch, which I'll pull up now. And something that's interesting about this, which I think kind of sums this game up perfectly, is they talked about they just did a patch. I actually just downloaded it today, the patch, and I'll go over what it fixes. But something that makes me happy is, we all know that 76 had a terrible launch. And I've said this before, and I'm not to beat a dead horse. I played it initially, stopped playing it. Now, what makes me excited is Bethesda and the developers are still really focused on it. And there's a couple underlying issues that are going on in the game. And instead of just dropping a patch and not addressing it, they say they're aware of the several issues that they were unable to address, but are going to address it. So that's always nice when a team says that we know these things are messed up. We couldn't fix them this go around, but we are going to fix them. And I'm not going to go through all the patch notes. I'll just read them if anybody's playing. But they fixed a issue with the camps that caused the build menu to appear empty. Instance of the new category, the Pit Boy acting erratically. Fixed an issue that caused Grunt and Headhunt enemies to be 1-star. Fixed an issue which caused camp items purchased with gold bullion to not appear in the build menu. Fixed an issue with Cairo status effects, which caused damage not to apply to enemies. And fixed an issue where it's possible to attain 100% evasion chance with the Reflex Legendary mod. So they're fixing things. But to me, I haven't run into anything in that game so far that I've been like, they need to fix this or it's unplayable, right? I haven't run into any of those issues that they just talked about patching, which is, maybe to each their own. Everybody has different experiences with games. But look, man, at the end of the day, I just like being in the Fallout universe. And it's funnily enough, I downloaded Fallout 3 again on the Xbox and thought about, maybe I'll hop into it until Requiem drops. At the end of the day, I've played Fallout 3 into the dirt. I've played New Vegas into the dirt. I've played 4 into the dirt. If I want a new experience and I want something that I can progress in and have these different encounters, it's going to be 76. So, I see it honestly being a long-term game for me. MMOs for me have really fallen off. ESO, WoW, all those games, I enjoyed them. But there's something about, it plays like Fallout 4. It plays like a Fallout, but it's an MMO. And if you don't want to play with everybody, I have the Fallout first. You could hop into a private server and do a couple missions without worrying about other people. But to me, it's just been fun, man. I love the lore of Fallout, and I get a pile of it with 76. So I think it's just a testament to you got to let some things bake in the oven for a while, because on that same thing I just showed, I think it had like a 50% rating on the critics, and it was like 6% of reviewers would recommend playing it. But for me, I like it. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm just like that little sect of people that enjoys the game, and I'm fine with it.
I think there's probably those. If I had to guess, people are more frustrated. We kind of made a guess that countdown that was on the Amazon thing that was in tandem with the season finale might be like a cool. We knew better, but we kind of were hoping a little bit, if we're being honest. And of course, we were let down. It was just Mr. House's penthouse, and again, we weren't surprised. I wasn't surprised. But I think it's that fact that everyone really wants that traditional single player Fallout experience, and you get the pseudo version of that with 76. I think a really cool thing was when 76 sunsets, because it just made that, maybe turn that entire experience as it sunsets into a full single player thing would be really cool.
100%. But look, there's only a certain Bethesda slop allocated to the public right now, and I will eat it. If this is what I have, I will intake it.
And I don't know, Dave. Have you seen the season finale yet?
No, we've still been saving season 2.
Would you prefer
saving it for what? It's out.
Well, we just haven't got to it yet. I'm not sitting there watching TV all day.
Well, don't look too much into our thumbnail that we put on YouTube then, because I have a spoiler or two in there.
But that's okay.
But
we are gonna start watching it this week, I think. now that everything was out. We were watching. I told you guys we've been watching Lord of the Rings and other stuff.
Well, you got to go ahead and mute us because we got to talk about the season finale real quick.
Well, we'll go.
You
We don't have to go too deep into it. We can kind of skip around it, but you know what I'm talking about. That after credits scene, leading into that would have been the perfect opportunity to have that Fallout 3 remaster ready to go, because that is one of the most iconic moments from Fallout 3. I'm getting that. Yeah, right. Yeah, it was Fallout 3 when you first see him.
Yes.
Again,
it's like,
you-
why
if
wouldn't
we
they
jump-
take advantage of some of those big moments?
That's the $1 million question, man. It's like I'm gonna have a hot take here. I think. Careful how I say this, because then our podcast will never go anywhere if I make the wrong people mad. I just get really frustrated with Todd Howard, because from what I understand, he's very much like everything goes through him before, and like that's a massive studio, a lot of projects going on. I don't get why like you haven't tagged in Obsidian to do that remaster or no New Vegas 2, right? They're right there. You guys are in the same umbrella now. You're both under Microsoft. You like allocate these resources, take your hands off the rings for a couple things, focus on one or two major projects. You should be solely focused on Elder Scrolls 6 right now. And let's put it this way, Dave, you're the head guy. This is what you want to focus on. Me and Nick are working on a remaster. We shouldn't, you know what I mean? That shouldn't be a barrier for us to get a project complete if it's even happening. But like you have this show that's gotten Fallout, like I said last episode, in the zeitgeist more than ever. More people are watching it. People that don't know what Fallout is are watching it. And you could have had like this excellent remaster or brand new game, Fallout 5. Imagine Fallout 5 dropped at the end of season 2 as like a surprise to everyone. And like, they kind of teased what the next location is. I don't know if that'll be the next location in the show. I mean, in the next mainline game, but like, I don't know, man. We just missed a big opportunity. And you're right. Like, 76 is Bethesda slop, and it's like they know what they're doing. They released an NCR armor immediately into the power armor immediately into Fallout 76, and it's like you're smart enough to do it there because certain people are going to buy it, but it's like it's like $20 or something, and it's like, dude, but like
30.
You could 30. See, that's ridiculous, man. Well, I mean, that's kind of
I know.
I can't say it's ridiculous. I mean, that's what everyone's doing. Fallout, Fortnite, Diablo, everyone kind of does the $20 to $30 skins.
But you're right, dude. They have so much opportunity to like. It's such a great universe, and my sole frustration is I just want more of it.
Yeah.
I want a reason to go back into Fallout 3. I almost just did it to do it, and I'm like, I'm holding off on playing Fallout 3 again for the hope that they remaster it. I want to go back into New Vegas. Fallout 4 I enjoyed it, but I did not enjoy it as much as the other two by any stretch. But it's like, they have it. They have it there, and it's so good. Just release more. People want more. They want more of it. I know I do. I couldn't wait to play more of it. I can't wait to play Elder Scrolls 6. Drop these games, man. Like, that's the one thing with Bethesda where it's like, I don't want to wait 10 years in between every game. And more than that now. It's like people love these games. You have one of the hardest, the most passionate fan base. Give them what they want. Give them what they want.
I mean, if the rumors are correct, and like let's say Elder Scrolls 6 comes out 2030, or maybe it comes out sooner, but then the next Fallout's like 2030, 2032 or something. You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy to me comparative to like what we should be getting. And like I said, you have Obsidian right there. You guys are two peas in a pod, man. They need something big. Outer Worlds 2 did not do what they wanted it to do. They need a absolute banger that will sell copies, and you have it right there.
And we've
imagine a New Vegas 2 off the heels of this season. You know what I mean? A brand new instead of a remaster. Like we're like, hey, surprise, surprise, dude, break the internet. We're all playing, and that's all we're talking about this episode right now. Yes. You know what I mean?
and the last thing I'll say on it is, they can't use the excuse, I think, that it takes long to make these great games. Sure, I'm not a game developer, and I'm sure it takes a while, but let's face the facts, man. Look at how many major titles are coming out and these different things that are not even a major title. Look at some of these indie games that have dropped and how fleshed out they are. Like, you have one of the biggest developing companies there is. You have the resources. Like, I don't know if it's a priority thing or if they're just so intent on this being the biggest games ever, which I hope, which would be great. But it's like, you got to find the fine line, dude. Like, you're making people wait a little too long.
Well, you make a great point with it, like being Bethesda, how big they are, but also you have the backing of Microsoft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have the money, you have the money bags. You could just be like, this is exactly what we need, and we guarantee you this project will sell. But
Like, look at
I just
WoW
get so
expansions.
confused. And
Look at how much is in a WoW expansion. You talk about all new gear, all new quests, all new areas, all new bosses, all new raids, dungeons, etc., classes, sometimes races. And they're able to drop those things like, you can't drop a new Fallout or a new Elder Scrolls.
Well, even you just got my mind working. What if they would have like said Return to Vegas, Fallout 4 expansion, and it's like a fully fleshed out Vegas or something? You know what I mean? Like, do something that's not 76. I hate to say it because I know you're playing it, but something.
You're in the Fallout 4 timeline. You go to the Mojave for something.
Yeah,
people would buy it. I would buy it.
I would. Yeah, be right in it immediately.
We've seen the hype of, you know, so like we were talking about The Witcher earlier, and now there's all this news about a DLC 10 years later. Like, they can easily add. I feel like that wouldn't be that hard to add a DLC to a game that's been out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Stan, again, we can have an entire podcast about Bethesda like we always do. It seems like every time they come up, it takes up some.
It's so true. And speaking of this, though, I've played a little bit of the Dragon Quest VII demo. I know this is what you've been playing. We've talked about it. So I want to give my initial thoughts, and I want to pass the torch to you on. I'm sure you have way more time in and way more thoughts on it than me. But look, man, you had talked me into checking it out, and I wanted to check it out and see what it was all about. And did I give it a full, honest assessment? Probably not. I played through the introduction quests, explored the world a little bit, and two things strayed me away from the path of the Dragon Quest. One, here's this. All right, this is. I went into it, and this was me. All right, I was this man on the boat right here. I was full of hope and excitement going into this universe and wanting to see what all the hype was about. And what I ended up looking like was this fella right here. No, all right, let me stop. It's to be serious, I wasn't a fan of the character animation. All right, specifically Kiefer, dude. There's something about like this hero-esque type prince character to where they're just like, it's so like cartoony bold. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a stoic doll, and so his character kind of like, I wouldn't say, for me, that'd be petty to say that like that would stop me from the game. But just as I did the initial quests, all I could think about was the amount of time I'd have to invest in the game, because I just realized I just started and I would go to point A to point B, and it just dissuaded me, dude, because I was like, I wasn't kind of entrenched in the story or the characters. And so I was like, am I just going to go through the motions of this game? And do I want to, and it is $60 on Xbox. And I was like, do I want to drop 60 for it? And I just was like, you know what? I have so many games on my roster that I'm going to pick up this year. I was like, I just do not want to pick this one up. So you tell me, you actually gave it a chance. You probably have way less petty thoughts about the art direction than I do. And you tell me what are your thoughts on it so far? What have you been enjoying? What have you not liked about it, if anything? Tell us.
Before we even get into my thoughts, I got to talk to you a little bit about yours. You knew prior to going into this what that art style looked like and the length of this game. So you sit there and you giggle with your little Team America, and I will give it to you. Kiefer looks just like he's from Team America. It's ridiculous, and I think he is a ridiculous-looking character. I give you that 100%. When I first saw it, I was like, "Hey, yo, what's up with dude here?" But no. But again, like, and I had a feeling when I first like pitched it to you guys. I had a feeling you weren't. It was not going to be your cup of tea. So I was a little. You would have seen like last episode as we ended. I was a little shocked that you guys were kind of saying you might jump in.
Yeah,
I do appreciate you. What? I was about to say something nice. Now I'm not. But I do appreciate you jumping in, giving it a little bit of thought. Now, your lack of taste and your Bethesda slop has hurt you a lot in your life.
Yes.
So let me I'm just messing with
I'm
you.
the product of my environment.
I know you guys and your first person bro shooters. I actually adore myself, so I can't talk too much smack. But you know, I'm gonna do this kind of a step by step. I've spent about 20 hours in the game. I've done a lot of the quests, explored a lot of the islands. To your point, like as you play, things unlock more. You unlock different things to do. You get like a magic carpet. You get a ship. You can travel the world a lot more differently. You're jumping from the present to the past. So before I touch more into that and kind of what that means and what that's like, I'll start with the visuals. You know, you kind of touched on the visuals. Toriyama, which I stated before, he is the creator of Dragon Ball and he is the creator of Dragon Quest. That's why you kind of see that the characters look similar, especially some of the enemies to the traditional Dragon Ball enemies, the Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z or Super or anything like that. Like the typical characters Goku would fight when he's going against the Red Ribbon Army and stuff. You kind of see a similarity with those mechs, the dragons and stuff like that. I think that they kept the spirit alive of Toriyama's original art, and I love this little twist of the dolls, the doll diorama aspect, and kind of bringing that in, and you know, making them taking the picture, exporting it into there. I think it that was the first thing that drew it to me. Like you took this time honored art and you made something special and you put a little bit of your own flair on it, and I really liked it and I appreciated it. And it's kind of like you mix a Pixar movie in with it. It just looks really cool and I really appreciate it, and it really makes the combat stand out when you start unlocking different abilities, different vocations, and jumping straight into that, like the moonlighting aspect. When you finally unlock it, that would be one of my complaints. What moonlighting is you get a vocation, but then you can get additional ones. So you're doing dual classes. So you can be like a gladiator pirate or a paladin sorcerer, stuff like that. So you can utilize both classes and abilities, level them up simultaneously, and then unlock more classes as you continue. So you get to the point where you can unlock druid, luminaire, champion, and then the official final class is the hero class, which is like the strongest, of course. I haven't gotten that one yet. I do have champion and druid unlocked. They also within the combat have a worked up system. So like as you're battling, your characters can get worked up, but then like adds an additional ability. And a really cool thing I noticed, I just with the champion got the worked up ability, and it's called a division. And what happens is you make 3 copies of yourself and you do an attack together simultaneously, all 3 attacks at the same time. And it does like 3 times the damage to the enemy. So it's really cool and different things like that. And like the support skills help. Like the Luminaire's worked up ability makes everyone else get worked up faster. So then you can keep doing these epic attacks and everything like that. So jumping from visuals to combat, I think the combat can get a little like redundant and easy because the level, your power creep. Once you start leveling, and like I like the grind and unlock these classes, unlock the level, get your stats up higher. So yeah, going visuals, the combat. Just I really, like I said, I've been in 20 hours in the game and I absolutely adore it. And how I can attest it to Saturday mornings, waking up and watching those Saturday morning cartoons on Toonami, the anime, episodic different stories. And how it works is like you go to these islands. That's kind of how it is. That's what kind of the whole story is. You're unlocking these islands, kind of figuring out why they all disappeared in the first place. It's a big plot by the Demon King, and that's kind of where it probably will all end, obviously. But as you're doing them, each island is its own consolidated story, and it ranges from like the craziest things. Like the one I just did was like these characters, like you when you first go there in the past, they're kids, and that's kind of the cool thing. And you jump back and you kind of figure out like, oh, what happened to everybody. You know what I mean? And it's like a relatively big jump where some people are dead and stuff like that. So one area, these 2 kids, which is kind of weird because one of the kids wants to be with the kid. So they're kind of having a thing. And then the guy that the girl he's engaged to is in love with like her childhood friend, and they're in love with each other, but won't admit it. And it's kind of like this whole thing going on. And eventually you kind of get it all solved out. I won't give any like spoilers for anyone that's listening. And then you come back. And you go into the future and you go and you're like, and then the whole landscape's different in the future. So like places that were there and don't exist any longer. So there's new cities, new towns. And this is every single island. They change back and forth between the time frames you're jumping. And then it's like you go back and then I'm walking around and I find 2 gravestones. And you're like, oh, so what happened to them? And then you go back and it like someone had messed with your tablets, which you use to teleport back, and you put the piece back in, and you go and it did like a little bit of a time jump, and you see them all as adults, and like the wife that wanted to be with the other guy that was the maid, then marries the mayor, and she's trying to kill the mayor because she wants to be with her side guy. And it's like this whole story of infidelity and murder and betrayal. It's like I'm watching a soap opera, all in this little Dragon Quest VII game. Right after the one before that is the it like goes into
a big mixtape fan.
Huh?
So this gotta be a big mixtape fan.
Well, it's some of us like like stories and intrigue.
I'm messing with you, dude. No, it does sound interesting.
I think the
I can
term
keep my power armor with me at all times.
Yeah. It's fucking standing at the position of attention when the power armor comes on the TV.
How'd you know?
But like, and then like Chris, so you go into that, and I know I'm going on and on. I'll leave it up to you guys to ask me some questions. But like, dude, then like right before then, I'm in an island, and it's like the horrors of war and what it means, and like his like watching children die and shit. It's like crazy stuff going on, and like watching what happens when you see that, and this guy like losing his mind because he watched his childhood friend die, and then you have to put him down because he's lost it. And he's like trying to bring back like the god of destruction through this. So it's like you got that, and then another one's like the stages of grief, but then some are like really like light and easy, like you would expect from that game, where it's like they're goofy and it's like the power of friendship and stuff. But like I said, it's it hits you with a little bit of dark stories. From what I can tell, if I had a complaint, I would say that, and this is kind of nitpicking, I feel like the overall story is kind of weak, but the consolidated stories of each of those islands is really cool if you pay attention and invest in them, and you're like not trying to rush through them. And like I said, I like to stay in that world and grind. And like Dave, like you were stating, you and the wife just hopping in, doing 2 missions in Resident Evil. Like if I know I got like 30 minutes, I'll just run around one of the islands, fight monsters, level up. And the cool thing is once you've gotten to a certain strength, some monsters you can hit on the overworld and it kills them, and you don't have to even go into the battle sequence, and you don't gain as much experience in vocation, but you can help level those things up and kind of grind out a little bit. But yeah, boys, those are my initial thoughts with being 20 hours in that world. You guys got any questions? I know Nick spent 20 minutes, thinks he's an expert. So
no, actually, I'll tell you,
funny.
It's interesting to know that it goes deeper than that, because one of my kind of initial, I want to say scares or like deterrence too, was like it felt kind of childish. But it's good to know that it's like you can go into some kind of deep topics and deep stories with it. So I'm glad it did that, because while I do like that with games, I think, and all those games have a place. Like I said, if I wanted to play and Jackson was right there, that's a perfect game for it. But it's also like, you get invested in it, you're kind of looking for a little bit more. So it is cool that they do that. I wasn't expecting that from that game.
Well, the cool thing is, touching on what you just said there, was like in these games, usually you see like the anime-esque protagonist. What is it? Usually he's the chosen one, the hero. This game is truly like you're more adventurer than hero. Like that's what it is like eventually your parents, it's that time old trope, are like, okay, man, if that's what you guys really want to do, you guys go adventure, which is kind of crazy to think about. These islands never existed. Send a bunch of kids out on a boat and they're going to go fight monsters and stuff. But if you actually know, but don't overthink anime ever, even if it's in a video game form. But
yeah,
it is. You're right. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's not. I mean, it does have those time old tropes of like, it's the prince that doesn't really want to be a prince. He wants to be hanging out with his boys and go adventure. And same thing with Mary Bell. She's the mayor's daughter. Same mirroring exactly. So yeah, some of the tropes are rehashed in different ways, and some scenes almost look the same, like a kid hanging off a cliff that happened like almost back to back. And it's probably on me for doing those islands that way, because it does open up to where you can go where you want to go as you get these stone tablets and unlock new areas and stuff. But yeah, I feel like it doesn't overstay its welcome with those deep stories either. Like I said, they're consolidated to their islands. What I mean? So as you're kind of wearing down, like, okay, man, like, dude, what is going on here? And then you're kind of off to the next adventure, which goes back to when I was stating, it's kind of like watching those episodes of TV where it's like, some shows like Fallout, the whole season leads into the finale. But as a kid, cartoons, one episode like Ed, and Eddie was a different episode each time. There was no overarching final cycle of Ed becoming, having an absolute war with Ralph on top of the mountain. Plank is the referee.
All the jawbreakers you could have.
Little Ed and Eddie lore here. We're giving you guys a little bit of everything this episode. But Dave, I'd like to hear from you, man. I know I've been kind of going on and on about it, but you did say that CT Full Metal had to bring it because Critical Strikes was being a little too harsh.
Yeah. No, you convinced me to play it if I had more time and resources, because it is tough this year. I upgraded to the $30 Game Pass. We were talking about that, how it's like, well, there's so many Xboxes throwing a lot out there, so I guess that's worth it. But then choosing some of these other games, like Requiem, is not a Game Pass day one, so that's like, all right, I'm gonna drop $70. I can't, like, trying to buy multiple games, especially per month. It's hard to justify, when. So it's like some of these games, it's like, man, if I had more time, I could see myself jumping into this game. The time travel aspect sounds really interesting to me. Like having that style of RPG in general. I mean, thought the greatest generation of the Pokemon games ever was like Gold and Silver, when you could go back to, you could essentially revisit the old game, or some of the areas of the old game, and then fight the gym leaders once they were like older and more experienced. And as a kid, like I was like, wow, like these are the cool things that you can do in video games. And it's cool to hear those things, that element of time travel. I haven't played a game like that that comes to mind, where you see those areas, you see like, oh, this building's destroyed, like what happened. And then, even the Resident Evil games are like that, like you talked about, like you could just plow through the main story and it's fun, yeah, shooting zombies. But then if you're taking your time and exploring, and like I'll just be sitting there reading these little notes and things that are left on the counters, and it's telling you like what happened in that room before. It's like, basically going back to Lord of the Rings, it's like when he's sitting there reading that book from the dwarves, in the Mines of Moria, and the last line is just like, they're coming, or whatever. And it's like you find so much stuff like that in Resident Evil. It's like, day 5, we're doing some great research. Oh no, they're coming, and then that explains all the blood all over the room and stuff like that. So it does. That game sounds like it hits a lot of those elements to just. How's the combat and things? Like, is it a difficult game, or is it more of that, take a step back, relax, learn the story?
It depends on how you want to play it. So like you can adjust the difficulty settings any way you want to do it. You can make your guy, like if you really want to go like the hardcore route, you can make them absolutely overpowered and you underpowered, and kind of fight against that. There's like, going back to the Pokemon aspect, there's elemental weaknesses and spells, and they kind of like have their own version of spells too. It goes back to what Nick said. They're kind of like kitty funny names, they call them. So it's like the explosion, which is kind of, well, like we'll use Blizzard for fact. So when you guys, and I don't know if you've ever played Final Fantasy, it's like Blizzard, Blizzara, Blizzaga. This one, it's crackle, crackleotl, or something like that, right? It's like using like, it was like, and then like fire is frizz, frizzle stuff. And so it's like goofy, and it goes back to the Toriyama humor. Like he's notorious for that, when like especially in the old Dragon Ball, like in Dragon Ball Z is a little more serious and stuff, but there is still like humor elements to it. But the combat, it's your typical turn-based, and again, abilities unlock them, but I would not say it's overly difficult, especially like, AoE is king in that game, especially when you're grinding. So like getting those big old AoE spells, and again, working those vocations. Like if you play it right, you can have like the strongest spells. Like the Druid's nasty if you do the path right, because you can do the paths differently. And it's like, to unlock the Druid, you have to be a mage. Then you have to do a priest, and then the priest and mage fuse together to make the sage. But then you need to do the troubadour, the dancer, and one other one to unlock Luminaire. And then Luminaire and sage, once they've leveled up, become the druid. And then you can like use the druid and the sage because you've unlocked it before. And then those two abilities, then you have like all the spells from both of those classes. So it's pretty cool. And then it's the Final Fantasy job system in its own way. And vocations, as you know, Nick, going back to Dragon's Dogma 2. It's kind of that same thing. You unlock the vocations as you do them. So one thing, Dave, I'm so glad you brought up Pokemon Gold and Silver. I still think to this day, it's probably one of the greatest sequels of all time. And I'll tell you why. To your point about you beat the game, and then you go and you beat the old game, and fight all the gym leaders again, and then you climb a mountain and fight your character at the mountaintop for the finale of your character from the first game. You know what I mean? Like, that's just all in a Pokemon game. You know what I mean? It goes back to like, hey, remember Pokemon was the stuff. I'll never forget that. Like, you basically fight Ash, and you like, that's Charizard. Oh, that's Blastoise. Oh, damn, he throws a Pikachu at the end and just lights your team all to hell. So, anyways, a little Pokemon love there at the tail end of it. But
oh, it was just, and we were the perfect age. And you had mentioned some of those things about Dragon Quest, like hitting that nostalgia for you, and that's like, I know lately we've been talking about all the Pokemon games in like the last 5 to 10 years have been terrible, or at least not like I haven't wanted to jump in or anything, but I could see this being a lot like that. Like if I didn't play Pokemon on those old Game Boy games, like if it jumped in front of me right now, I would probably have no interest. I'd be like, that's a lot of time to learn this whole universe and learn all that, like you said, the different elements and trying to get it. It's like, but those things are ingrained in my head from being a kid. So it's like I could pick up any of those newer titles right now and figure it out pretty quickly. But it sounds like maybe Dragon Quest has some of that too. Like it'd be a big learning curve for me and Nick to jump in right now and kind of start from scratch.
Yeah, that's cool too, because it kind of follows the Mio route too, with the as you unlock things, more things open up to you. So like I said, you get the boat, then you can start traveling to the different islands in the present from as they fall out. Then you unlock the magic carpet, and then you can fly and like reach points you haven't reached on each of the islands. So it makes you go backtrack the islands again, and then like you find collectibles like mini medals, and then you find more map fragments, and then and then so it has like that completionist in me too. Like I want 100% it. I think I'm gonna go for the platinum, but my final thoughts on all of it. It's like and I once I fully complete, I'll give you boys a full review and score right now. I just don't feel comfortable giving the score without beating it. But it, like Dave, like you said, it's a nostalgia wave all the way through. Like it harkens back to those Final Fantasies, like the Pokemons, the and then I said it again, the Saturday morning cartoon feel. Like it's just the Dragon Ball. I'm a huge Toriyama fan. It just hits so many notes for me. And like, yeah, it can be jarring some of the way some of those character models are. It is Kiefer. It's only Kiefer. Everyone else looks normal.
Yeah,
I don't know why
everybody else is fine.
But other than Kiefer's the man, dude. And like he has a really cool little story that happens where like the tale as old as time. He went with the girl over the boys in the venture, and he fell head over heels, and and then apparently like that was a cool thing too. I guess that's where it originally ended in the original game, but now apparently, from what I understand, there's a whole story where you kind of re-meet up with him and stuff, so you kind of work together. And so I'm excited. I'm like I said, I'm 20 hours in. I don't know I think it says I'm 50% through the game. So I got another 20 ahead of me, and I'm beyond excited to see what other cool little adventures are going to happen. I am noticing that I'm running out of islands, so I'm wondering what that second half of the game is going to look like, which I'm, pretty excited for. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys listening to me go on and on about some Dragon Quest. Nick, I know I'm giving you a hard time, but I do appreciate you giving a little bit of time a day. And I do want to apologize to the audience because I do believe I said it was 40, special edition 60. I'm sorry. Nick is 100% right. It's 60, special edition's 80. I didn't realize how much of a dirtbag I was. I did spend $80 on that game so I could play it early. I guess I didn't want to admit it to myself, but I did. And hopefully the wife didn't hear me. But it's she's like, you spent $80 to play with dolls? Yes, I did. And I
did. I'll do it again.
It's been such a treat. But I will say this, I'm sorry, I know I keep going on and on. I will say I can understand more the negative comments, because if you look into it too much, if you're trying to make it something it's not, I could see that happening. And I think that's a lot what I went back and read some of those reviews. I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it from that lens, absolutely. But like, you look at this, like, again, from my lens, and that's the best thing about games. All three of us could play Resident Evil Requiem, and we all are going to have different scores, different thoughts, might hit a lot of the same things we agree with. Same thing with High Guard. Like, it first didn't resonate with me until I played with you guys, and your first experience was playing with all of us. So it's like Nick's initial first game was more fun than Dave and I's first game. So it's like, that's, it's those kind of things. But All right, boys. Everyone should play Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined, and it should be a 90, not an 85. And that'll be our last little point there. So they did give me an 85, and then as we all expected, Karn dropped a point to 86. So that gives me a heaping -1. Nick is still in the lead with 16, and Dave is right behind him at 13. Our draft is about to bump up a little bit more as we're leaning in towards Resident Evil Requiem, Animal, Marathon. We got more games coming out we're excited about. Marathon, before we get into these news stories, you know what? Actually, save Marathon.
Save
We'll
that.
talk about that in our third story.
Yeah.
But going right into our news desk, everyone, we're going to talk about the big thing, and we kind of teased it in our last episode as we the state of, they called it the Sony state of play. Excuse me, I stumbled on my words a little bit. Yeah, the Sony state of play was kind of like rumored around last week, but it got officially announced this morning. And it'll be a 60-minute PlayStation state of play on February 12th. And we're expecting it to be a pretty big showcase and expecting to see some cool things. I think we will hit, guys. I'm like, as Nick's showing right there, I think Saros, so they'll talk about Saros, of course, because that's coming up relatively soon. Wolverine will hopefully get a solid date. It looks like Tokon Fighting Souls as well. Hopefully that gets a date as well. From what I understand, this isn't a placeholder show. When Sony extends it to a full hour, we expect multiple game reveals is what we're hoping for. Updates on big PS5 exclusives, which I just talked about. I'm pretty sure, as you can see there, sorry, the dogs are barking. They got excited for Sony as well. I think that's Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet as well. They should probably get a little bit of love there too. That's a new Naughty Dog game, which I know a lot of people are excited for. I'd like to get y'all's thoughts on that too in a second. But yeah, this is not just your typical patch note event. I think we might be in here for a big treat. Before I continue on, I think what I've noticed, and I was reading through, I'm sure all you guys were reading through some of the comments and newses, people releasing the story, and then the comments within it. Seems fans are already speculating this to be one of the biggest events of the year, following right after Xboxes. Dave and I were touching on this might be their big counterpunch, so they might bring the heat. But yeah, boys, let's start with what we feel like is going to be seen. And with Saros being one of my picks, Wolverine being one of yours, Dave, Tokon being another one of mine. I am excited to see those 3 games and really see what they're going to go into. I don't want to spend too much time because we all know they exist, but what are you guys hoping to kind of see with those 3 that are announced, especially Wolverine with you, Dave?
Yeah, I'm curious. I haven't seen too much about that game so far, and I'm wondering if it's going to be more the big expansive open world like Spider-Man, because it is made by the same team behind the Spider-Man games, right? But I'm curious how. I mean, I just hope it's cool because Wolverine just brings back all the memories from when I was a kid. He was one of my favorites. I had the action figure with the claws that could go in and out and stuff like that. So this is a game that would really tempt me for me and my wife to look over the budget and see if we can pick up a PS5. We've talked about it because both of us were, from PlayStation 1 and 2. I played heavily on those generations, and then I switched over to Xbox. But all these games, that I've missed out on that are huge from PlayStation, now they're dropping Wolverine into the mix. If I see something good during this state of play, I might be looking at prices for a PS5. I'll just say that. But I think I'll just to close that loop. I think it's going to be a big show. This is their chance to just look at Xbox and be like, "That's all you got," and we're getting those. Everything you showed, we're gonna pick those up too. But here's everything else that we got. So it's exciting. There's just for us trying to keep up. Like I'm over here talking about how I'll be tempted to get a PlayStation 5, but it's like, man, I'm never going to finish everything on Xbox this year, so I might have to just stay in my camp. But I don't know.
You'll be PlayStation eventually. All you guys will when Xbox finally calls it a day. So just enjoy it for now. I'll report back these games to you guys, but I'll just I'll let you, Dave, next time you visit, we'll just let you like a full 24 hours with the PlayStation and Wolverine so you can fully get the experience in.
Yeah.
But no, I think to your point, I hope it's the open world. We kind of saw snippets of the gameplay. It looks like it's violent, it's brutal, which it needed to be. I think you
Yeah.
got to have that with Wolverine. If it had been too, I don't know, just too like rated E or even rated T, it's not going to do what it needs to do. Like Wolverine's a gritty guy. He has steel, antimanium, and claws that cut through anything. Like you got to have him play who he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looked
I
like
think
it's
that's
going
why.
to be pretty gruesome, right? And like it kind of reminded me of the Sniper Elite games where you get that slow motion camera of your bullet like exploding their heart or whatever. It seems like the Wolverines it's going to be that gory element where you'll really see the kills and stuff like that. So
And I think for it to be
only going to
successful, it
help
had
them.
to be.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Yeah.
Nick, anything on Wolverine before I kind of throw out another thing I've been hearing about, and I kind of want to talk to you guys about Saros as well.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Dave talking a little bit about the potentially open world. I think that'd be really cool, especially if it was like a Spider-Man-esque type open world where it wasn't like a full-fledged, let's say our Skyrims and our Fallouts, these major maps, but it's just kind of this centralized location where you get to kind of go around and interact with different NPCs and maybe pick up a side quest, but maybe you start as Wolverine without all the powers. They can go about it a bunch of different ways. It looks like the classic Wolverine skin from the picture I just showed, right? So it's
perfect. Well, I also saw him in his cowboy hat and his jacket from like the X-Men movies. So I think you probably get a little bit of both.
So you never know which route it's going to go, but I think it'd be real cool if it was kind of like maybe it's its own story, kind of the introductory of how you become the Wolverine, and then you kind of get to own it a little bit because, I don't know. And that's how all these games are, like the Spider-Man games. Like they kind of have to take on their own life because if you're just going to play through the movies, we know those stories. And I know for me, like that makes it so hard. Like, a lot of these anime games, like, let's just say like Demon Slayer, like that's such a good show, but like, I'm not going to pick up the game to play through the fights that I've already seen. You know what I mean? Like, I want a different kind of experience in that world. So maybe they go that route with it. Like, you are Logan, but you're Logan in a different timeline. Like you get to, it's just a different world, and you kind of get to evolve through it and make your own version of who you think the Wolverine would be. Of course, with a centralized story, I'm sure there's going to be, it's not going to be like a whole pick and choose the sides of it, but kind of take it at your own pace, do what you want to do in it instead of a very strongly linear story. I think would kind of be tough for that. Not tough, but it'd probably not play as well if they gave you a little freedom with that.
I think you can expect probably what you want basing off the Spider-Man games. Like I said, Insomniac is the developer, and I think they know that. I think what I'm excited about is like we know how Spider-Man gets around. How's Wolverine gonna get around? Like I imagine him climbing up like buildings with the claws and stuff. I think that'll be sick. I think you're right. I like envision. I don't know if you guys ever played Prototype back on the 360. Something maybe similar to that, like, kind of that similar esque to it, or But yeah, Wolverine, I'm excited about. I am really excited about that game. It will be jumping into it, and we'll be letting you guys know about it for sure. Also, we've heard of a God of War spinoff, but like not like the typical AAA, like a smaller, like a tighter one that's kind of like I don't know, like a small linear project. I don't know what it could be. Some are thinking, and I hope it's not true, like an Atreus game or something along those lines. Just, I'm hoping not, but I'm also hoping if there is a God of War like announcement here, it is the next one, and I hope it's like the Egyptian gods or something along those lines. I think that'd be sick. But what are you guys hoping, or what do you think's gonna happen with that?
Let me go first if you don't mind.
Well, you threw that hand up. I was like, yes, sir. What do you got?
I'm a major fan of the God of Wars. It's actually what made me get my PlayStation initially.
Same.
Here's my thought.
Telling me I had to, and I was like, why? And then I got it, and I was like, okay, I understand. It's worth it.
Yes, they were so good. Now here's my thoughts. All right, please don't drop a linear singular Atreus story. Nobody wants that. Nobody's gonna play
what it's gonna be, dude? It's gonna be that level where they're riding on that thing, and it's what was it, the Iron Forest, where it's him and the giant girl, and they're like,
yeah,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude, do not do that. But here's where I'm hopeful. In this new, and I guess you'd kind of call it the new trilogy of God of War, or it's only been 2 now, but if you want to call the next one the trilogy, right? And to me, that's what it is, right? They've kind of branched off and are following this different path of Norse mythology. The first God of War came out in 2018. God of War Ragnarok came out in 2022. If we look at our dates, 2026 would be slated for the next God of War. I think they are going to drop a trailer for the new God of War, and if they do, I'm going to go instantly to that fucking shop and repair my HDMI cord and go get hacked 2 years after playing God of War new release.
Now, do you think, based on your timeline, and I have another thing I want to throw you guys' way as well with the God of War stuff, but on that same thought process, let's say they do the trailer, do you think it releases next year, or do you think it comes out this year?
I think it drops this year. I think they're sleeping on it, and they want to do a big shock factor.
If we're looking at Grand Theft Auto, which isn't Sony, but everyone's kind of scared to drop a game around that time. They're also looking at Wolverine around that time. What when are you thinking of, like a time frame, like a summer drop?
Mid-year. Yeah, I'm thinking a summer drop, dude. I'm thinking, look, PlayStation knows, like, dude, that first God of War, and I say the first, it's obviously not the first out of all of them, but I'm talking about the 2018 God of War. Sold major numbers, did very well. God of War Ragnarok, same thing. The DLC Valhalla dropped great numbers, great reviews. I had fun with that DLC myself. I beat it. I beat all of them. Why
Such
would
an
you?
amazing ending at the end. Yeah. Of it, by the way.
Oh, so good. So good, dude. They have the storytelling of these myths down. Now, you know, and I'll be the first to say, I love the Viking stories, but I'm with you, dude. Branch off. Go into Egyptian. You know, you have so many cool gods and goddesses in Egyptian culture to where if you inserted Kratos into that, it's awesome. Now, here's the tough thing. This is the very tough part of God of War, is the ending we just talked about. He's kind of coming to peace. He doesn't want this anymore. So Kratos is kind of at his end of this reign. So I do see too where they might say, all right, let's kind of test the waters with Atreus and see if he can be our new next main character. But you got to amp his little ass up, dude. If you have Kratos as a main character, Atreus just doesn't feel that play, right? That immersion. You want to be the God of War. You want to be Kratos. He's like one of the most badass characters you get to play in gaming. So cool. The one-liners and all in those 2 God of War games were like some of the funniest things. It's just so like this guy takes no shit. You're gonna have to have that character. If it's not Kratos, or something's gonna have to happen that brings Kratos out of that piece.
And I think what I expect, now you've got me actually really thinking about this. What I think would be a way to get him off the chair and back into the fight is this game, whatever. If it is the smaller one they're talking about, it is Atreus. I think they probably age him up a little bit, make him look a little more cooler, like, you know, give him a little muscle in that body.
Yeah,
so
you got to make him more badass.
So it's not as jarring, but what it is maybe it's him on that adventure he's going on, that kind of, you know, they branched off of that at the end of the original, at the end of Ragnarok, excuse me. And it leads into maybe, let's just say Egyptian for the sake of argument, and then they capture him, and Kratos gets word of this. Because you know damn well he doesn't care if he's retired if he heard Atreus is captured by Anubis or something. You know what I mean? And
True.
you know he goes full out Ghost of Sparta-esque style. And he, you know what I mean? He's all chill now because things are cool. But the moment he hears his son's in danger or something along those lines, you know, maybe that is like the branch into the new God of War. But
that's kind of what happened in Ragnarok. So I don't see them going that route. You know, like Odin kind of took him under his wing. He was worried about that. Then he ended up in Odin's. You know what I mean? So I'm worried that they've kind of painted themselves into a corner with such a badass ending of Ragnarok.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, I could see it going either way. I just know Atreus isn't going anywhere because of Ragnarok 2. So they got to figure out how they're going to use them. Now,
make it the protagonist, but make him badass. You gotta like make him cooler.
Yeah, and like give him some better weapons. I don't want to use the bow and stuff.
No.
Maybe something else. But what I would, you know what else it could be? What if it's the original trilogy remastered?
That would be sick. That would be sick, but it's like, I don't know, dude. The new play style for me is just so much better. I love the old God of Wars too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But this new play style is fluid, dude. Like, I mean, now if they took the trilogy and made it that, but I just don't see how they would do
I don't
that.
think they'll do that. I think that would cause the biggest
It would have to be
internet
a remake at
meltdown
that
in
point.
history.
Yeah, and people would be pissed. They'd be like, "That's not what I wanted." I think they have too much of a good thing going to not keep with this kind of newer God of War. Would I be stoked for that? Yes, maybe they do that if it's just like, you know, what these rumors you're hearing. It's kind of this smaller project. Maybe it is a remaster. But yeah, I just am really up in the air with where they'll go with the new God of War. But I do not want them to stop. Whatever it is, I want them to pursue it and do it, and I will play it. But I want to play Kratos. I like Kratos.
I got one more question for you, Nick, before Dave, because I want to get your thoughts on God of War as well. But Nick, let's say it is just an Atreus game. No changes to him. He looks the same. Do you think you would grieve deeply?
Bow and all?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it would just.
So real quick. So you would grieve deeply if that happened?
I would grieve.
Yeah. Would you grieve deeply?
Why are you wording it like you're setting me up?
Would you grieve deeply? Just say it. Just say yes.
Just say yes. No, I mean, I don't know if it'd call it.
Just say yes real quick.
Yes. Yes.
That means you loved fully. That's the line. Remember that Freya said, "To grieve deeply is to love fully." I was like, this guy just said.
Like, dude,
for our audience, that was worth the 5-minute build up.
Yes,
I would
100% play it, dude. But it's like, that's a big change, not only for these two games, but for the entire series. I mean, it's called God of War. You are the God of War, so it would have to really, really change.
Yeah, they would have to call it like God of War Loki or something like that. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
And have to really embody it.
A different title. Like almost, you know, we've seen other big titles do that. The one that we're most familiar with, Halo, you know, you had that side games almost, ODST, where you're in the same world, but you're weak. You're weaker. You feel like you're not the Master Chief, you know, and then Halo Reach, your other
Dave, real quick, I know because you're a big Halo guy like us. Did you like ODST?
Did I like it?
Yeah.
I went to the school nurse and said I was sick. I had to get home to play that game, dude.
I loved it too.
It was so much fun.
Cool.
That was the peak of my, you know, I mean, on my, what would it have been? Maybe high school. I think it would have been early in high school. Maybe I was a freshman or sophomore or something. But yeah, that was all the guys. You know, that was also the era of like Halo Wars too. We were seeing just these other, like the first 3 big Halos hit, and then it was like I thought it would, you know, it would just never stop. Like there's a Halo Wars, or there's an ODST. Like they're gonna have all these side games, and I know they have had others over the years, but I mean that's that'll be a whole podcast when we just discuss the downfall of Halo before Campaign Evolved comes out. So I'll say
I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I just had
to my rambles.
I didn't know about ODST because I do remember that real quick. We can't turn this to, like you said, we can't turn this to a Halo podcast. That'll be another hour. But I just love that idea of ODST when you really realized how weak you were when you engaged with the hunter for the first time as an ODST soldier.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what in the hell? And you realize, oh, yeah, I'm not a Spartan anymore. I'm just a dude with some armor on. Like, this guy is mollywopping me.
The night vision was sick. The silenced SMG. It was just like a cool way of playing in that universe and kind of like taking your time. And
I don't know how you do that, though.
Your fights.
To get us back off that tangent, I don't know how you do that, though, with the God of War. Like with the Halo universe, it's easy because there's all these soldiers and there's a million storylines you could follow, different Spartans and whatnot. But there's only one God of War, and you know, like you guys had just both hit on a bunch. Like it didn't feel fun to be weaker in a title like that. It defeats the whole purpose. But maybe they could pull something off, or like you said, some kind of remaster. That's been everybody's moneymaker lately. We're seeing everybody just throw these games out. Oh, here's, I mean, we Bethesda, obviously, we know all the different versions of Skyrim and stuff, but then we're about to get Halo campaign again for the third time, and it is like I am excited about that, but it's going to be like 2 nights of fun, and then we're going to be right back where we are now, where it's like, wait, when's the next big Halo coming? Or it's cool they're throwing us that bone, but
like you said, those first 3 missions will be really cool, but then it's like I've like Nick stated, I've played it into the dirt at this point, so yeah, it'll be fun, but I'm also like it'll be fun more like depending on how good, how robust to make their multiplayer. That'll be the most fun. I'm hoping that they don't like just give us. Well, it says campaign involved, so it does concern me. There won't be like a multiplayer
Yeah, I don't think they're doing shit for multiplayer. I think it's just here's Halo on Unreal Engine, and like it's such. What's it take 10 hours to beat that game? It's a short little tease for us, but it will be fun to play.
My last comment, Stan, I want to see if you agree, but Dave mentioned it's not fun to be weak in that world. And I think that's right, but it's also, I think what God of War does so well is the fights are hard. There's a lot of fights in Ragnarok where I was like, geez, this
Valkyrie
is tough.
Queen.
Yeah, but here's the thing that they do right is, yes, the fights are hard, but you are like a god, but you're fighting these fantastical bosses and creatures, right? It's not like you're going to go up against your run-of-the-mill warrior and get your ass handed to you. You're going up against a Valkyrie, right? And that's going to be a tough battle. You're going up against other gods, and that's going to be a tough battle. And that's where it hits so well because it makes for these epic battles. And that's where I think it's like you almost have to have Kratos, or Atreus has to just get elevated to an extreme to where he's on that power level to face these next people. And that's all I have on it.
No, and you, like I said, you made a lot of excellent points on that. What I want to ask you. So we have an hour, right? Do you think in this hour there'll be a lot of fluff, or do you think they're going to hit it? So like, are we going to see like Wolverine straight into this God of War project, whatever it may be, straight into Marvel Tokon Fighting Soul, straight into Saros, and then straight into something we haven't heard yet? Or so like, because I want to kind of wrap up this PlayStation State of Play. We're a couple days away, but I will say this: I do expect us to see Wolverine and get a hard date. That's what I think for sure. I think that we will see Tokon Fighting Souls and get a hard date. I think Saros, they'll probably give it a little bit more spotlight because it's right around the corner, kind of hype us up a little bit more about it. I don't know if you've seen gameplay on that or if you want to pull it up while we're talking about it, but I think that's even a game you might want to fix your HDMI for because I can't wait for it. It looks like so much fun.
I'll pull up a little Saros while I go on my tangent here.
But in like talking about that real quick while you're doing that, so that's 3 games for sure right there, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 games. But that's not going to fill an hour, I don't think. So I feel like there is going to be a couple pops in there, maybe one big pop, maybe even a little bit of I mean, we can dream maybe Star Wars, Fate of the Old Republic, maybe a little bit more there, but I think that's maybe too early in the oven. But we don't know how long the game's been in development, so we don't know. But I don't know. Like there it is.
Here's my
hey Dave, right now we're pulling up some Saros gameplay because I think this is a game I'm really excited about. I mean, it was my second pick, but
here's my thoughts about
this. Is this a PlayStation exclusive?
Yeah. And Dave, before Nick jumps in, so what I stated, what we know for sure is Wolverine and Saros and possibly Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. That's 3 games. We're looking at an hour. So Nick was about to jump off with those like kind of those final points.
Yeah, so. And you were kind of asking, is it going to be fluff or is it going to be a lot of games? And here's my thoughts. I give Sony a lot of hell, but they're no fools to games at all. Like I said, God of War is one of my favorite games of all time. As we're watching the gameplay of Saros here, I mean, this just looks super clean. I think one good thing it's got going for it, right? And I like the idea of a developer's direct like Xbox did. But what did that bring? It brought a lot of developers talking, them in front of the screen, and very minimal gameplay. It felt like it was a whole lot.
Fable,
especially Fable. It's like, look, shout out to the developers. That's great. Do a 30-second intro. Hey guys, this is our core team. We've been working on Fable. We're excited to bring it. Here's what we got to show you. Have gameplay and talk in the background. And I think Sony will do that more so. I think that it's going to be game after game after game. Is there going to be fluff? Yes. Do I think it's going to be to the degree of what Xbox did with the Developers Direct? No, because it was 4 games, so much fluff, and it just felt like it felt like it was, how do we stretch these 4 games into this time frame? I think PlayStation's got some stuff up their sleeves. I mean, they already got great games to showcase. I think they're going to really double down and show us some great games. And really, look, if they're looking to take this thing by the horns, this would be the time to start showing it. This is what you got from the Xbox Developers Direct, all right? And here's all these games on Game Pass. Look at how much we have to show you in this hour. Come get a PlayStation and play them.
And all those games that you saw on Xbox are on ours.
Exactly.
I really feel like
And
they
you can
got to
play
play them
those.
at the end.
I feel like they will throw a little something, even if it's just like a almost like a slideshow or something at the end that's like, play all these other titles, you know, and they'll show like the Halo, Gears of War, you know, something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I don't know, as you know, anyone that's watching, kind of seeing this Saros gameplay with us, it just looks like craziness and like a ton of fun there too. So I mean, I think you got a big winner there. And then with Tocom Fighting Souls, tossing that in there, I mean, that's an anime-esque aesthetic of our typical Marvel IP, which I think will be really cool. I mean, if it's a great fighting game, it's going to be excellent. You know, like I feel like I mean, obviously Marvel's always going to sell, but I really thought it'd been cool if they did like a Sony IP fighter, like Kratos and fighting Sackboy or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to both your points about that, I think the way it's stated, and I got to look back, you know, I'm kind of speaking out of ignorance. I got to look back at the old state of plays, but I think this follows more of like, it's like one thing after another with like maybe a hardware thing here and there and there. You know what I mean? So Nick just pulled up some from Arc System Works, the Marvel Tocom Fighting Souls, for anyone that's watching. But like, being that it's not being marketed as developer direct, it's being marketed as a state of play. I think you're looking at the more of the gameplay-esque style and releases more than developers talking about their product. But I could be eating crow. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm expecting. So, yeah, as you can see here, really cool look to all the characters, and the fighting looks like fun. You know, I'm terrible at fighting games, so I don't know if I'll pick this up, but it's just, I mean, it looks sick, and I feel like people are gonna dig it. I mean, everyone loves Marvel. Look at Marvel Rivals. It's one of the largest live service games. So good, in fact, and we'll talk about that in our next story. It might have shifted Blizzard's entire perspective as we've seen Overwatch, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But anything else on the state of play, boys? We're excited, and just a reminder to everyone that we will be releasing a reaction video on Friday. We'll be watching it all together as a group here, kind of talking through it, what we're seeing, and what we like, what we don't, and we'll kind of give it a little bit of a letter rating at the end of it too, how we feel about it. But anything else, boys?
No, I'm excited. That's all I got. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, these are like my favorite things about those video games is these shows that come up, and you know, we get to hear, you know, get excited for the things about to come and hear about the things we don't know about. It's always the best part. You know what I mean? Like E3s of yesteryear and stuff. But our next story, boys, this one's near and dear to my heart, and we kind of touched on it and teased it at the beginning of the episode. But Diablo is also doing its own little showcase. February 11th, this Wednesday, Diablo celebrates its 30th anniversary, and Blizzard just revealed this a couple days ago. They'll be hosting the Diablo 30th anniversary spotlight the day before the state of play. And for a quote we heard was a Diablo 30th anniversary spotlight will showcase upcoming content across the franchise, including Diablo 4, Diablo 2 Resurrected, Diablo Immortal, and possibly another project. That's what we're kind of hoping to see right now. Nick, I didn't see what you just had up. I apologize. Was that like talking about this thing a little bit?
Oh, sorry. Here, I'll pull it back up. It was the anniversary spotlight.
Oh, nice. Okay, thank you. And yeah, why this matters? It's it's not just a nostalgia reel. It's Blizzard doubling down on the franchise's long game strategy. They could reveal what we're hoping. Well, we already know there's gonna be a new expansion for Diablo 4, Lord of Hatred. For those of you that pre-ordered, such as myself, and played this last season, Paladin already came out. The thing that everyone's super excited about is the new class. Talking about this new class real quick. I don't know if you guys seen the leaks and the data mines. So what everyone thinks is we're looking at Warlock and kind of playing on that light and dark aspect. You have the Holy Paladin and then the Dark Wizard summoning, using the powers of hell against hell is kind of the thought process behind it. Or what I think and kind of hoping for, I know it's kind of a rough take, is possibly the Blood Knight from Diablo Immortal. I really like the idea of that character. It's very Castlevania. You're basically like a half vampire, kind of look like Alucard. It's kind of sick. So, those are kind of the two classes up in there. I think Warlock's probably your safer bet just based off everything that's released. But yeah, boys, I know that this is big for me. I'm really excited. At the tail end of our reaction video on Friday, I'll be giving my thoughts on this. I don't know if you guys will have time to watch it, but I'll definitely be spending some time with it, looking it out. That's good. I hope you guys do get a chance to see it and kind of give me your thoughts on it too. And we'll kind of PlayStation will obviously be the front of our discussions on Friday, but we'll show a little Diablo love for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna sticking into Diablo 4 right now, and then I'll want to hear from you guys. We'll have the Paladin, a new class. They're talking about reworks, new mechanics, the Herodic Cube. Like I told Nick when he was thinking about jumping in this last season, like he stopped playing around season 1. It's a totally different game from when it first released. Like, I give Blizzard a lot of credit that they did put a lot into this when they could have just taken the feedback and dropped out. But I mean, the game's excellent right now. I'm enjoying it. It is comparatively to PoE2, it's a lot easier. The dad action RPG, as some say, it's a little bit easier to level, a little bit more to get it. You can kind of rock and roll and get things all done in about a week, which people say what they want. I respects my time. I enjoy it. I have a ton of fun. And if I want to go get my ass kicked, I'll go play PoE2. But Diablo lives up to that fantasy power the fantasy power fantasy. Say that 3 times fast, but that's what I really enjoy about it. I love being the Paladin, just dominating it, getting your mythic uniques, getting your build together, doing the build crafting. But so that's for Diablo 4. People are hoping for some good news for Diablo 2 Resurrected, as there's a rumored of a new expansion for that game, kind of talking about like the Witcher expansion and Fallout missing the opportunity for an expansion. So going back to that game, Nick, before we keep going, anything on either 4 or 2? Have you played Diablo 2 Resurrected?
I haven't played Resurrected, but I played the original Diablo 2. But I was just sitting here smiling as you were talking about it because, you were giving me hell earlier in the show. But Diablo 4 is to you what Fallout 76 is to me. It's a game that got major hate at launch, has corrected itself, and is full of microtransactions, and we both love these games.
There's no microtransactions.
Yeah. Last time I was at your house, I saw you had like 5 different mounts.
Well, it's not the mounts. I had
and every WoW skin that they've dropped.
I had the Lich King skin, Garrosh Hell. They did World of Warcraft skins. It's not fair. It's not fair.
It's the Blizzard slop. That's what it is.
I am.
They know they'll get you just like they know they'll get me with the Bethesda slop. But no, listen.
I should have known better before I talked smack. I forgot that we were talking about Diablo today. I eat it like it gruel. I love it.
Yeah, dude, and I'm the same way. So I get it. It's just it's 2 different games. I played Diablo 2. I loved it. I haven't gotten Resurrected, dude, and I don't know why. I think kind of when 76 wears off for me and I kind of get over it, which is going to happen sooner or later. That will probably be what I pick up as a filler game in between drops throughout the year. Diablo 4
I haven't really jumped into it, so if you do that, Dave, maybe you too, because I think it's cheaper. Again, I made that mistake.
And is it a remaster of 2 or is it a remake?
Oh, it's a remaster, clean up everything. It looks good, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
It's not like Diablo 4-esque level, but it's like up-res to like the nth degree, and it looks good, dude.
Diablo 2 to me was the best one. It was so much fun, so I should get it. Diablo 4, I kind of dabbled in it a little bit. Fell off just because I don't really know why. I just kind of got over the gameplay loop. The same reason I fell off of PoE2. I was so deep into it, but it was like it just kind of it goes back to the WoWs, which is what Fallout 76 is going to do the same thing to me at some point, where it's like you're just grinding for the next set of gear, right? And that to me kind of at some point or another gets old. But what I will say that Diablo does really good is the stories are always fantastic. Blizzard and its cinematics always pull me into their damn games.
The best in the game, dude. The best in
Oh.
the game at cinematics, bro. Like,
It's so
how many times have we
good.
watched the Lich King one? You know what I mean?
It's so good, dude. Some days instead of going out on a Saturday night, I'll just tune into World of Warcraft cinematics in order and watch all of them. So they're
So good.
they definitely
My
know what they're
son.
doing. And like I said, you know, it's the gameplay loop is a lot of fun. I'm excited for you mostly because I don't think I'll hop back in. I'll probably do Resurrected if I do anything. I saw that
Shame.
I saw that they talked a lot about they were dropping stuff for Immortal. Mobile games have never really been my thing,
Yeah.
and I know kind of that's what Immortal is. I just hope, and it'd be the same thing with 76 as it progresses, is I just hope that it's not like microtransaction heavy because
It will be.
yeah,
It
and
will.
I know it will be, but they gotta add a lot of heart and a lot of content, and then do the microtransactions. You'll get me on them. But have a really cool area to explore or a new class to play and all those fun things that come with it. And then sure, I'll drop a couple microtransactions to look cool as hell while I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I mean and that's where I give them credit too. Like their transactions are simply cosmetic. It doesn't make you stronger, doesn't make you better, anything along those lines. I mean, the biggest one being, I would say, is like having the pre-order Lord of Hatred to be able to play the Paladin right now, which is kind of like contradictory to what I just said. But other than that, not being, it's mostly just cosmetics, and like you can play the seasons and do the season passes without buying them, which is cool.
Yeah,
But
that's
you
a fair
can't.
pre-order,
Yeah.
right? They're not gatekeeping the class. It's gonna come out to everybody, but if you want to pay extra and play it now, you can.
And I did. And I couldn't help it.
Right. And if
Couldn't
you're a
help
fan, if I love those games, I do the same exact thing.
Yeah. Dave, before I jump into a few things I want to talk about considering Diablo, anything on those two? I know you, like you said, you're kind of newer to the franchise. Anything we're saying kind of exciting you? Maybe Diablo 2 Resurrected, or 4 is kind of in the heat right now, so we kind of.
Yeah, I was, as you guys were talking and I'm listening, I was browsing through to see. It looks like Diablo 4 is on Game Pass, so it
Yes.
could be, and the older DLCs as well. So I think that could be something I jump into in maybe April, May time frame. Just looking at the schedule ahead, I've kind of got
it's when the new expansion drops too, so that's cool.
Yeah, around the time the expansion drops. Of course, I'd have to put some time in to get there, but I've kind of got a rough gaming roadmap in my head for the year, and it's starting off, right now just cleaning up some of these the old Resident Evils and stuff. But then Requiem comes out. Try to get through that before Crimson Desert, and sounds.
Cannot wait for Crimson Desert too.
I know we'll get into a bunch of Crimson Desert in a future episode, but it looks like that game will probably take me, a good month or more to work my way through, just with limited time right now. So, but then Diablo could be something I jump into April, May time frame. So we'll see.
And it depends how hard Marathon hits us too. I don't know if you guys have been seeing the new stuff releasing for it. And for those that watch, and Nick's playing right now, the Lord of Hatred preview, just an excellent cinematic, showing off the Paladin right here in all of its glory. But Marathon, the new clips and stuff they've been releasing looks fantastic. Like I am getting more and more excited for that game. Like, I think it's gonna be good, even though, and it was a draft pick, Nick. Before you even say anything, I saw you about to go talk to that mic. But before we jump into my next thing, which will actually tie into Marathon and a lot of other games we've been talking about. But Dave, you're right, Crimson Desert. Like more and more I'm seeing with it. I'm so glad I picked that up in a pick, and I'm excited to play that game. But so Nick, some things that I think we will see at this Diablo thing. I think we'll see probably a cinematic of that caliber, a montage of all the Diablos like mixed together in different ways. I think you'll see like a montage cinematic. I am excited to see like what mechanics or new systems they're going to tease for both Diablo 4 and Diablo 2 Resurrected. But there's also rumors of a possible like synergy. I can't talk. Someone help me. Synergy.
Synergy.
Thank you, guys.
Synergy.
Between Diablo 4 and Diablo 2, I wonder what that would look like. One thing, because we touched on ODST and we talked about Bethesda as well. I would love for Diablo to branch out a little bit, like maybe like, and I always say this, like a Diablo Tactics or like
Ooh, that'd be
or
cool.
you know what I mean, like a different version of that, like even in the style, like a style of Baldur's Gate, but in the Diablo universe, and following like a story of Tyrael or something. I don't know. I just think that'd be amazing.
You get your 4 companions or like 4 of the main classes or something. You know, like it'd be so easy.
Well, you can just make make like a crew with all the like when you pulled up that long list, like you could easily make like a really robust game there with that, and that'd be
like
just really cool.
I'd say like, well, not like Divinity, but kind of where like you could really like pick and choose your teammates, but it's just like character create 4 classes and that's your team. That
I would say just
so
like
cool.
Divinity would be sick. Yeah, like a Divinity bolt. Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of like akin to like, or even like an RTS style, like Halo Wars was. That like Diablo kind of like the battles of the high heavens versus the burning hells would be sick.
You could have some major battles in an RTS.
But then it made me laugh thinking about it too, because do you remember that South Park episode where they give Kenny the PSP and he has to battle the forces of hell with the PSP from heaven because he's so good at the tactics game? But that'd be sick if that happened. All right, but yeah, so to kind of put a bow on this, I'm beyond excited about this. I'll be sure to brief you guys on it. I'll be texting you guys' ears off on Wednesday with all the shit I see. And then Dave said he was gonna try to watch it. Nick, I think you should make some time to watch it too, just to let me know. And then when I hear you both download Diablo, because I think Diablo 2 Resurrected might be on Game Pass too.
So I'm gonna get it, dude. I'm telling you, I was very close to getting it. I'd say almost a year ago, and then something else kind of creeped onto my radar, and I didn't. But I remember seeing it and be like, I want to play through that shit again, and especially now in HD, that'd be fun.
Yeah, and I remember I got it like I can't remember when I did, but it was like on a really good sale. And I got it for like $10, and I was like, absolutely.
That's when I saw it. I should have picked it up then. That's exactly when I saw it.
Well, all right, boys. Like and I had a big for our story 3, we kind of like the guys and I were talking, everybody, and we're thinking about doing like a state of live service. And we've been going on a little bit. I knew that Diablo and Sony State of Play would take a little bit for us. So I do want to still touch on this, but maybe not kind of follow this order that we kind of, behind the scenes, we always structure shows and kind of where we want to hit things. But boys, with the state of live service, so a lot of things I want to like, I'm going to throw a bunch of things out there and I'm going to hand it over to you first, Dave. Battlefield, like we talked about, Battlefield Season 2 is coming out. Battle Pass will be the whole works like usual, right? With new, like, I think it's like chemical warfare is like the theme for this new season. High Guard we just talked about. I feel like it's come and go, which is like a death to those high service, live service games. We have announcement that came, Nick, if you can pull this up. This is relatively brand new that was released this week. Was Horizon, no, I think it was last week, excuse me, Horizon Hunters Gathering. It bothers me there's not like punctuation between there somewhere. That another live service one where like it looks really cool and like it kind of, I don't know, it kind of has like that cartoony Fortnite-esque look to it. I hate to say that because I feel like anything that's cartoony is compared to Fortnite. The gameplay looks really cool, but the characters, I don't really like the character design too much, but like what I've seen from it looks fun. What else we got? We got obviously Call of Duty is the mainstay. We just talked about Diablo for the past 30 minutes, which is another live service game. Nick's playing 76, another live service game. So I just want to like toss this out. Like, do you see a game like this that we're watching right now, Horizon Hunters Gathering? Do you see this succeeding in today's environment? I didn't even talk about Arc Raiders or Helldivers that still have massive audience. And Nick, you'll get a kick out of this new Helldivers thing. I think it drops tomorrow. We'll record this on Monday, everybody. That now they're going to Cyberstan, which is the name of the automatons planet. So they're all going to go fight the automatons on their home turf. We might have to all download it because I know we all have it. Maybe we jump in and fight the good fight for Super Earth and for democracy. But you see what I mean? Like the characters are like, they are what they are.
Is this a spin-off of
Horizon Zero Dawn? Yeah. So like you're like, apparently it's like Monster Hunter esque. I see like kind of going out there fighting, very like it's very like different from the main games.
Yeah.
Well, and it looks like it's a party type thing.
Yeah. So it's like so the three of us could jump in and go hunt monsters in that world, which cool. I don't know. How you guys feeling about it?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this, but after Karn, I don't know what to say. It's like, do I see myself playing this? I don't know, man. I mean, it's kind of almost
You like
like
the old dude with the hammer.
Yeah, but you're like picking a
Mentioned.
class, it seems like, and I'm kind of interested to see like when you're picking skills, kind of like Vampire Survivor. It looked like there. It's like
Yeah, I just
you
saw
know,
that
I
too.
don't. I'm just kind of confused on what the ultimate goal is. Are you leveling up your character? Are you It looked like a kind of a battle, like a big win where you go out and like you got to take on waves of enemies and and knock down the boss and get a win. But I kind of just worry about like what's the progression of the game with something like that. Like you know what I mean? What are you trying to accomplish if you already have pre-existing heroes? That kind of plays into a great PvP. But when you go to PvE, what are you getting? It doesn't look like you're going to unlock new armor or weapons, so you got to get something. What is
But
it?
I think it's all PvE, so it's like
Yeah,
we're all just
that's what
working
I'm saying.
together.
So what's your progression? What's your unlocks? What's your goal for going into these matches?
Going into the shop and buying skins.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And if it's that, I don't see it doing that well because it's like it's high guard, right? It would probably be fun for a couple matches with us, but then we're like, or Sea of Thieves would be probably a better example. And I Sea of Thieves did really good, but for me, I didn't like it because it's like,
What are
you
we
know, you
fighting
go,
for?
you get the treasure, you take down this, that, you go and get enemies, but then the only upgrade was purely cosmetic. And it's like, all right, dude. I mean, this is a PvE. I want to kind of get a better gun to take down bigger enemies type thing. You know what I mean? Now maybe it's you unlock more skills. It's interesting. It's interesting. I didn't see someone making a game like this.
Yeah, like in like one of the game modes you hit it, you said it is like a horde and you fight a boss. But you know what game mode is? And Dave, I know you played Destiny as well. I feel like one game mode that I feel like is not utilized enough, that's the PvE PvP mix, is Gambit from Destiny. And I never understood why no one really uses it because I always thought it was such a cool concept. You're fighting waves and collecting motes and you're preparing to fight a primeval, and then the other team can sneak in and start killing you guys and make it harder for you to kill the primeval. And that was always my favorite PvP. I guess I would say it's PvP and PvE-esque, but it was just one of my favorite modes in Destiny. I feel like no one ever really steals that idea enough. But anyways,
that would work great in this game.
That's what I'm thinking, right? Yeah, like the other hunters can come in and stop you from getting the kill, or like the three of us can compete against another team of three to see who can kill the monster faster.
Yes.
So but yeah, Dave, seeing that and then kind of talking about those other games and with Marvel Rivals, hitting the forefront as well, which everyone's speculating that's why Overwatch is completely kind of like, I think Marvel punched them right in the mouth, and now they're like, okay, we need to adjust fire here. They're doing a bunch of new stuff, releasing new heroes, going back to their traditional mode from the original, dropping the 2 and just calling themselves Overwatch, and doing like a content drop throughout the year that's story based. It's all about the enemy faction we've always heard about. So your thoughts on all that, my friend?
Yeah, you see a lot of titles. A lot of titles are doing that I think everyone just saw the success from Fortnite, where it's like, why make a Fortnite 2, Fortnite 3? They haven't needed to. They just keep improving that one platform. And some games like Master Chief Collection put up all these games into one and kind of had one level progression. Or with Call of Duty now, they've really taken the approach. I know they got hit hard by doing those yearly titles, and now it's kind of like Call of Duty is the whole, and then there's Warzone or there's Black Ops 7 that are in that game. But it's not surprising with something like Overwatch. Like they have the style, or just the way their game's laid out, that they could be like Fortnite and just everyone, oh, did you play Overwatch? Or it's not like, oh, did you play Overwatch 3? Because it's not necessarily they need to make a new game. It's like they just need to keep building on what they have. A lot of companies are finding that success with their games, and like we've all touched on it, where the cost becomes a factor as well. Like, is it easier to pick up new players by making a whole new game, or is it easier or I should have said to make more money by making a new game, or easier to just, hit on these microtransactions and things we've all been talking about. But they've all gotten us in some way. Helldivers 2 got brought up, and they had that ODST pack. It was like $10, and I bought it and then stopped playing the game. So it was like, why did I do that? But they get us. And
dude, I love that you said that. It's happened to me so many times where I'll finally cave in and buy a skin, and then I stop playing the game. I'm like,
Right.
dude, why did
Right.
I do that?
They've all gotten us.
Overwatch had a butcher skin for Road Dogg, and dude, thank God I stopped playing before I bought it. But every single day I would, like when you're waiting for the match to start, when I was in the Overwatch 2 for a little bit, I would hover over and I'm like, maybe today is the day. No.
Yeah, but it's the I know I probably jumped around a lot. I think we started the discussion with Battlefield and the whole live service model, and I think people are just burnt out. People that we've had enough games now where it's like, say a Call of Duty where you kept up with every season and you got all the camos and unlocks, but then everyone has that moment of realization where it's just like, I just put all that time into the game last year and now they're already on the next one. And I think just the gaming community as a whole is just burnt out, and people are pumped for these more condensed games where it's like, what is the end? Like, okay, I'm going to pay $70 for Resident Evil. I'm going to get, however many, if you want to go for every single challenge and find all the collectibles, whatever, maybe it's a 40-hour experience. You're trading $70. That's pretty good. And then, but these other models, it's like, yeah, it's a free game, so you have nothing to lose except for your time if you want to keep up with it. Like, we look at High Guard and we're just like, man, it's kind of cool, but where does it end? Like, am I gonna start getting all these skins and things unlocked, and like, what's the point? There's no beating the game or whatever. It's just like being a kid. There's one day you met up with your friends at the park for the last time. You didn't know that it was the last time. It's like those games. We could have already played High Guard for the last time. Who knows if we're gonna go back to it?
No, and it's funny you say that. I remember World of Warcraft, I was doing a raid for like the 13th time to get a sword. And like halfway through the raid, dude, I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I remember logging out, canceling my subscription, and never went back to WoW again, man. And I loved it. Nick and I were deep in the WoW world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's funny when that moment hits you, dude. It's like it hits us all, and
you just want variety. Like, I love a long game. Like Crimson Desert looks like that's might be, with all the stuff they've shown, that could easily be like a 100-hour title. But it's like, okay, I'll buy it and then chip away at it over the course of a year. Like, it's video games to me is always a great value in entertainment. You go to the movie theater and drop $45, take your kids and family, and then even more money for. It's like you could easily blow $100 on something that you'll never, it's 2 or 3 hours of fun and it's over. But video games, it's like, yeah, it's $70, but that's going to be weeks of fun.
Well, I think what Crimson Desert has that is not going to do what these other games are is it's a single player.
Right.
It's that the issue with the WoWs and the 76s and all the Diablos. I mean, all these live service games is that time is going to come until the next thing comes out. I mean, we haven't seen it with Fortnite. I thought we would have seen it by now. So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we're all wrong about it. But ultimately, what these developers are thinking too is, how much money are they making in the interim when it is successful and it is huge and it is popping? Like, Fortnite, for example, I mean, it's still going, but like 76, like, I'm sure in a year's time we won't be talking about it anymore. But how much money have they made from the revitalization and all these other people jumping in and playing and investing time? Like myself, I've invested time in it and had fun with it, but they're making their dollar off of it. A live service game, I think, is just always kind of destined to burn out at some point, to where these single player games, I think they can get away with a lot more content if they stage it right, to where it's like, it's not a Ubisoft content drop where it's go to point A to it's like an MMO in a single player game. You're like, all right, what the fuck am I doing in this game now? But
Yeah,
if
I want to
Crimson
touch
Desert
on
does it
that
right,
because
dude,
that's what.
oh no, you go ahead.
No, I was saying no because what you were saying about Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert was originally going to be an
Yeah,
MMORPG, and they decided to pivot, which I think was a brilliant move.
I do too.
And you
Because I
and
wanted
you
to pick
like
it
you
up as an MMO.
No, I
I'll
wouldn't
be
have
honest with you.
either. Wouldn't have either. And I think that was smart. It's like give that whole experience, but clean it up, right? Like I don't want to go a bunch of question marks and stuff like that, but like clean it up, but have that robust experience in a single player thing. So when you find a chest, you're the first one finding that chest. That was always like the magic of the MMORPG would disappear because you'd think you'd find this chest. You're like, dude, 35 people already saw this like in the past 20 minutes probably. You know what I mean? It's like there's no like real sense of like, oh, I just found this. Or when we all get on the podcast, we're all playing Crimson Desert and we have those water cooler moments. You know what I mean? Those games kind of don't really follow that, from what I remember. But anyways,
Well, and MMOs also, they like take on the realm of open world, but you're very guided through the MMO as well, which you know what I mean, kind of makes it, like you said, you're not just like Crimson Desert. I'm sure we're all gonna go and hit different areas too when we talk about it, because it's single player. But an MMO, if we all picked up WoW, let's say tomorrow, and we talked about it in a week, by the time we're all level 10 or 20, we'd had the same exact talk about going through if we all
hit
picked
the
this,
same
you know what I mean?
dungeons.
Yeah.
No, that makes a great point. And I will say to you both of your points. I mean, yeah, they burn out, but I do feel like those live service games are a necessary evil right now because of how much money they generate. And I think we need them to exist. So then the things we really, really enjoy can exist. You know what I mean? Like, like you said, we're all guilty of it. 76, Nick, Battlefield, Dave, Diablo, me. You know what I mean? We all have our live service game, but like there are in-betweeners before these single players drop now. You know what I mean? And I think that's where they serve because they're not going anywhere and they will generate money. And, as long as what I never want to see is just a big swing that way. And we kind of lose these single player experiences. But if they exist and they still fuel and fund these big single player games and motivate these developers to make even those games better, I can live by that. And I think that's where we are currently. I just feel like, and Dave did say, like people do get burnt out. I think, I think it's a combination of the two. I think people get burnt out and they're very selective with their time. Like it's hard pressed to be in more than one like we said, when we were playing Battlefield last night, we like had enough time to get like 4 or 5 games in and we were talking about jumping into high guard, but then we were like, we're already all kind of in Battlefield right now. Why should we? You know what I mean? And we decided to do another jump in and got absolutely mollywopped and all went to bed crying, but we still had a lot of fun playing. But so
to me, it's like there's a huge prize for those at the top. We mentioned the Fortnites, the WoWs, and things like that. And these other games, I mean, I'd be curious to look at the numbers, and it's like how many people are buying skins and things on Battlefield? Because I know for me, I haven't bought anything from that game. I'll still go back and play from time to time, but to me, it's like that style, that live service. I think it's making a lot of these games just suffer because a game like Battlefield, I feel like they held back content, knowing like, okay, we could release, like they're about to come out with the Little Bird Chopper is a rumor for season 2, and it's like, wow, that should just been in the game on release. Like I know they have to add things eventually, but if they just packed like this huge, you see games like GTA and stuff do it. It's like, oh, like why not make this the biggest Battlefield ever and just launch it? And because now at this point, season 2 is going to drop, and they've already lost probably half their players or more. So how many people are going to actually experience this new content? It's where they, to me, I feel like I would just want to be like, oh, let's make this huge Battlefield. Because with every game now and having so many titles to play, every game's going to dip after a first few months. Like, so give people a great few months of Battlefield before they move on to other games. Don't be like, oh, we might have ship to shore combat in season 5 or something. Like at that point, you're appealing to your hardcore fans, still giving them something, but people are going to be playing other stuff.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You're right, man. Like, you've drip feed the content. You risk that opportunity where people are going to drop. We all kind of dropped like that. Anytime I ever played Battlefield now is when I play with you guys. I don't play by anytime by myself now. And then Diablo too, like, yeah, I'm like celebrating it evolving into what it's evolved into, but you also could look at it from the other side. In 76 example, were we just beta testing your game up to this point, and you decided now to make like this is what it was supposed to be all this time, and but, like, you know, but you got a bunch of money out of us in the meantime. So, you know, we could pull at this string probably for another, you know, I keep saying always an hour, but we could honestly pull at the string and keep unraveling it and going back and forth. But like, you know, I want to revisit this every so often with you guys because, you know, we will hit these games as we're going through. Like Arc Raiders, prime example. I was all about Arc Raiders. I have not played it in weeks, you know, and it just happens, you know.
There's nothing that's like that's out right now where it's like I want to keep up with this for a year. You know, I think the last game like that for me was probably like Apex Legends, where we were like I want to play every season because it was so good. But then eventually I fell off that game as well. But I feel like right now I'm in the season of life. It's like I want the variety. I'm pumped. February is zombie month with Resident Evil, but then we're going to jump into something totally different in March with Crimson Desert. And I mean, even 007 coming in May. I'm like, I just want to have such a variety, get those 20 to 40 hours of an experience, and then not have it be a part-time job to keep up with the battle pass and things like that, you know?
No, absolutely. And especially like those Battlefield games, like that skill level ceiling is so high. And if you step away for a while, you get just how that guy took all three of us out in an instant because, you know, we were a little rusty and he took advantage of it. We still got second place, everyone that's not listening, just so you know. We still got it in us. But yeah, boys, you know, we hit a bunch of stuff this episode, and I really appreciate you guys. Again, Nick, I do appreciate you jumping out of your comfort zone, hitting Dragon Quest, Dave taking a look at some Diablo things, seeing if you want to jump into. Again, like, you know, talking about it, like, you know, that's the you know, my live service one that I do keep up with and play the season. But to your point, it's like, you know, maybe a week and a half, and then I'm on to the next thing. Like, you know, I'm not sitting there. I watch some of these streamers sometimes. I'm like, dude, how are you still playing this and like having fun? I know you're getting paid to do it, but I just always feel like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a big factor. If I was making money, I'd have every battle pass, you know, completed. I could treat it like a job. It's just right, you know. We represent the average person out there that's already working their ass off, and then it's like, gosh, you know, what's the point? Like, I just want to sit back and play something to relax, not be stressed if I'm not going to finish these challenges by the end of the week.
We all just need to become virtual peanuts and make a bunch of money. The guy's a legend. Proud of him.
Yeah. He'll never get bored.
But all right,
play Arc Raiders until the money stops.
Right. I mean, I think he's still isn't that like his main game still? Arc
He's still
Raiders
going on that. Yeah.
Getting the goop.
Goop.
But all right, boys. You know, it's getting late. Everyone, like we stated, we will be doing a reaction video of both the State of Play and Diablo 30 starting on Friday. But boys, what do you got going on the rest of the day? Bed. About to be 10 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And then work and everything like that. Dave, I know you're in the same boat as I am too. We're all kind of this is 1 inch of rain on Sunday. That's good news. No more snow. Just sorry the weather just pops right now. But again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate both of you guys. I'm excited for this week. We got some good news from a big franchise for me and from Sony, which we've been desperately waiting to hear from. But again, everybody, we'll see you this Friday for our full reaction to Diablo's 30th anniversary and Sony's State of Play. But until then, keep grinding, keep gaming, and we'll see you on Friday. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, boys.